Hello friends, a very warm welcome to UnSarkari. I'm Vikas Bhardwaj. Continuing the sub-themes that we have covered in Max Weber, today we are covering up a very important sub-theme, that is rationalization in various social settings. When we speak about, then in that context economy becomes of paramount importance. There had been direct and also context-based questions in sociology which had been coming up on this area. So our way would be, you have to revise this lecture couple of times. You have to make sure that you're making your own notes and your vocabulary must be strong by bringing key examples. So the rationalization, when we say in various social settings which you'll be taking up, and in that perspective economy becomes very important. Here the analysis is from economic sphere. And what is the key source for our understanding? Our key source for our understanding is the general economic history, which becomes an eye opener for us. So when you have to quote general economic history. And the central theme of this text or the research or the Weber perspective is the transition from traditional economies to rational capitalism in Occident. Just go and Google when we speak about Occident, how you pronounce it, that means he is speaking about a certain part of the world, certain culture he is speaking about. And in that culture, how there is transition from traditional economic system to the rational system, which is calling as rational capital system. So general idea remains rationalization. We have already discussed in details that it is a process where social action is increasingly guided by calculation, efficiency, and predictability. Three keywords. He is saying that there has to be a planning behind this. So, do you think that in India also there are many startups as of now which are showcasing these three features of calculation, efficiency, and predictability rather than tradition or emotion, which we had seen with respect to Tatas and Birlas when we speak about pre-independence times? So, Weber's four types we have discussed in our previous lectures, that is practical, theoretical, substantive, and formal rationalization. All these are overlapping and sharing commonalities. That means certain common points from all these four types are visible when we speak about economics. So in economic rationalization, what Weber is stressing upon is calculability, systematic organization, and profit orientation. So think about, in today's time, IPL. Think about in today's time, even, big firms which are operating on a very large scale, transnational, and even the future course of action with the economy. So do you think Weber's idea is fitting somewhere? We have to write a short note on a realistic basis. Now, Weber, with respect to economy, when we say neoclassical economics, because Engelman, when he suggested that Weber laid out much of the methodological underpinning to what is conventionally called neoclassical economics. So Weber's economic perspective is called neoclassical perspective. Why and what kind of contribution is there? So neoclassical economics is contributing towards ideal type. It is creating an ideal type, that is an analytical model to compare reality. Second, there is a methodological individualism. That means social phenomena is explained via individual actions. We have discussed this element even before, and we wanted to understand that he is not speaking about individuals, he is speaking about social action, he is speaking about a social phenomena, but the understanding of that social phenomena is coming through individual actions. That means action of a certain group of people. And in that, what is core to those social actions is rationality and rationalization. That how rational, how systematic is the behavior. That is what we call economic behavior. This economic behavior is very, very important, which is actually helping in transition from traditional to capitalist behavior. So how he is defining rational economy? Weber is defining rational economy as a functional organization. What is the keyword over here? Functional organization, which is oriented to money prices. It has to think about that, how to make profit. And what is the keyword here is interest struggles of men in the market. Interest struggles of men in the market. In society, there are number of groups, number of people, number of strata, and so forth. Every group, every individual have their own interest. But here, interest struggle is linked with money prices. How I can earn more, how I can create a system. So, if you think that any group or any individual or any society you want to attribute towards rational economy, then it must be based on market based exchange. Then price is as a regulator of the same, and then competition must be there and calculability must also be there. These key features, if you put up market based exchange, calculability, competition, and price as regulator, then you can say yes, you are able to define the rational economy in terms of Weber. But can we say exactly that these all features will be available everywhere and also they are available in absolute terms? No, that is not the case. In that regard, Weber is rejecting evolutionary sequences that something will happen on its own because someone is doing some business or someone is carrying on some trade in a certain manner. So Weber is opposing deterministic general evolutionary sequence. Someone is having a business of say furniture, someone is creating a superstore, someone is creating like example of kirana stores in India, how they are how they were once challenged by big MNC stores, and now big MNC stores themselves are challenged by e-commerce. So he is believer of the fact and he says there are multiple routes which exist towards capitalism, and he is also rejecting the socialist theory of inevitable progression, that if you are doing business in a certain way or if you are having certain control over resources, then by continuously following a certain methodology which is based on tradition, which is based on values, which is based on familial traditions, it will continue to grow. No, that's not like that. So traditional economies, when he is explaining, he is saying, for example, household, Indian household. In India also you can say rural and urban household, a clan, and then comes village. India has been known to marvelously pluralistic culture, and also large number of villages in India are known for in manufacturing prototypes and manorial systems. Manorial systems, the word taken from Europe, where there is a manor. Manor is a piece of land where is a whole system is there. Agriculture is also there, and then there is a lord, and there is a vessel, there is a knight, and there is a serf also, and it is continuing. This is a kind of a pre-capitalist economic system. So what Weber says is that they are lacking in initiative. Too lacking. It is not saying lacking. Too lacking in initiative to build a business enterprise in a large scale. That is what was witnessed from Industrial Revolution. The shift is coming up from 12th and 13th century. There is breakdown of feudalism. Feudalism, as we already said, feudalism based on land, where the land ownership is with multiple people, and then below them are also sub infeudation of land, those who are having not real ownership, but they are owning the land on behalf of the real owner, and then they are subletting it to the further downside, and then finally workers are and the peasants are working on that land who are actually having no stake in the land, and they are living on very very small meager wages, near to poverty. So this feudalistic structure is there in 12 till 20th 13th century when he's speaking about Europe, and then it is breaking down, and the result is that the manorial system, it showed a strong tendency to develop in a capitalistic direction. Okay, direction. That is why mercantilism will be coming into picture first. Now, when the rise of cities is there in the Middle Ages in Europe, industries moved beyond household needs. That means transformation of raw materials, as we say that when even England as a ruling power, as a colonial and imperialistic power, when it came to control India, it is actually taking up raw materials from here. and then transforming them into finished products and then dumping back in the rest of the world, including India. So free craftsmen emerged when this whole new system is coming up, because larger market are coming up in the cities, higher consumption needs are happening because of the development of cities and their high needs, because basic living is missing off now. And peasantry, initially they are having greater purchasing power because land is now getting bigger, and then agricultural commodity is also changing. So slavery declined with time on paper, but not really, because you have now urban workers who will be actually living in a slavery-like conditions. And unprofitable, unstable, you can say, uh, undermined by towns offering freedom. This is the reason when you can say slavery will be declining, because it will not become profitable. No one wants slaves now. The purpose and also the medium and also the system is changing. Towns are offering more freedom. Towns are offering, like everybody says, मैं शहर जा रहा हूँ, शहर की जिंदगी, महानगर की जिंदगी. So freedom here is also contextual. Similarly, guilds which are there, they are rational in nature but yet traditional. That's what Weber says. What is guild, first of all? We have seen in ancient India also there are guilds. An organization where craft workers specialized in accordance with the type of occupation. That is a guild. You can say Potter's Guild, you can say Steel Workers Guild, you can say Iron Smith Guild, you can say Craft Workers Guild, and so forth. And there is an internal regulation of work. There is something called Shreni. Shreni is a term which is used since ancient India for guilds in India, and they have got Shreni Dharma, that means the rule of law which they follow, and Shreni Bal, that means they have their own kind of a, uh, I would not say army, but they have the people who take care of their interests. And even king and kingdoms and even empire also support guilds to flourish, because that's how the kingdom and empire can also flourish. So internal regulation of work is there, and there is monopolization against outsiders. That is how the guild is there. Like you can say in the Great Chola's time, Great Pallava's time, and even in the times of Guptas, and even in the medieval India. So rational aspects of guild, if we say specialization that we have just agreed, regulation is also there, and association. Like today also we say Agarwal Samaj, we always say Gupta Samaj, we always say, uh, there are in South India also mercantile association. So, but there are certain aspects which are traditional in nature, or you can say which are anti-capitalist in nature. For example, equality rule. So, no master should have more capital than another. There is no freedom that okay, I put in a lot of money and I'm going to grow up. It's not happen, because guild is giving everybody an equal stake, and it is a barrier to large scale capitalism. So it is not a cooperative it is a cooperative kind of model which is not actually uh, helping to grow in a large scale capitalism. So there, that's why with the space of with the development of technology or technological advance, there was decline of guilds in the modern times. You can correlate it with the coming of the British rule also in India. So domestic system, which is called the putting out system, that is linked with the guild, that means production is getting decentralized, because workers are working from their own homes and they are having control over their tools also, because owners supplied tools and raw materials with time, and that is how they are also retaining the disposal rights. So I am the owner of the tools. I will give you a work to do and you will complete my work and you will give it back to me. Initially, what was happening? Initially, you were the owner of the tools also. You will decide, I will only give you contract. But now I will give you contract also and I'll give you tools also. You will be merely executing it from my behalf. So the idea of Weber is that this fully developed only in the Occident. There were barriers elsewhere. Why there were barriers elsewhere? Because in China there is a clan system. In India, there was caste system. The caste system went on to create barriers into it, because there are so many social norms which are not allowing a group or a village or a person to grow completely. So traditionalism and bonded labor, or you can say control over labor and other caste and class conditions, they actually discouraged the development of modern system. So workshop, when workshop is coming into picture, when you say in a traditional sense, they you can say in ancient time also there can be a workshop, but there cannot be a modern workshop in ancient times. So if I say traditional workshop, in traditional workshop there is centralized work, And then there is no advanced machinery. That is, you can say till Mughal times in India when we speak about. But when we say factory, like factory means modern industrialization when it is taking place. Like in England, there were factories. In India, factories were not there when even British were here. For most of the times, we had only godowns. Here, factories were not producing goods. That's very important to understand. But what actually factory must do, which it was not doing in India, free labor. Free labor, specialized tasks, what was happening in Europe, what was happening in England, what was happening in Germany, what was happening in UK, US, elsewhere. And entrepreneur owned means of production. And there is a fixed capital and rational accounting. That's how assembly line will be created. So that's how US became a giant. And also big brands were created, whether it is automobiles, whether it is about, you can say, about manufacturing goods and so forth. So in Weber's idea, factory is the true capitalist organization, not the guild, not anywhere and all that. So the component of modern capitalism will be advanced machinery, as you can say. There will be, think about Renaissance period, think about Enlightenment, which you have studied in sociology in the beginning, and you will think about steam engine to, sieving, and also you will think about cotton ginning, and you will think about large number of invention and discoveries which are changing the whole landscape, including printing and so forth. So transportation systems, as I told you, steam engine, you have the faster vision. And initially there are horses, then you have trains, and then later on you have aeroplanes and so forth. You have cargo, you have logistics, you have steam, you have shipping, and that's why shipping giants were created in Europe. Countries are small, but they are still giants, including Scandinavian countries. Money and banking system, that's how modern system of money and banking emerged in Europe and also US, and that's how India is still moving forward in that direction. And interest systems will also be rationalized, and then bookkeeping, rational accounting is there, unlike India where there is bahi khata, or you can say traditional system is also there, modern traditional mix is also there. So key marker is defined by calculability, systematic reliance on bookkeeping, which you speak about today, tally, and then we speak about like GST reforms have come up in India, so they are becoming, making our system more modern. So you have to think in social terms, society terms, that how even UPI when we are using, and even digital payments we are using, how there is resistance by small shopkeepers, resistance by many those who are openly selling on Facebook, but they are not ready to go for the GST modernization. So these are some of the elements you have to understand from sociological perspective. So capitalism, according to Weber, as a social system, because a society is capitalist only when everyday needs are met by capitalist enterprises. Everybody is using GPay, and then you are paying through also through a digital mode, and you are transaction where transaction is everywhere. There is no barter, there are no social, or there are no emotional needs involved. Everything is being done in a transactional way. That's what he is saying. So this occurred only in the Occident in the mid 19th century, and not happening in the rest of the world. So economic prerequisites, when we say for uh, a capitalist system, that will be free market with a steady demand. That is what had been seen in Europe and also in Americas, and it is coming up with giants like China. Money economy, like we say, China is a money economy. India is also a money economy, but then is it a completely money economy? We are on the way. Inexpensive technologies, how health, education, and daily need is met in a very very inexpensive and in a very very accessible way. Fair and disciplined labor force, that's also we have giants like the LG, we have Samsung, and then we are want to become a semiconductor giant. So you have to think about that. Rational capital accounting is also on the way, and then commercialization, India's money market, primary and secondary market. So these are prerequisites. So are the only economic factors important? No, there are non-economic prerequisites also. Any modern state, according to Weber, must have a professional administration, like the way you have management graduates, you have a great deal of people who are having high qualification, including civil servants, and you have specialized officials which are looking forward to promote economic uh, dimension of any country, and law based on the concept of citizenship. So rational law is made by jurists and rationally interpreted and applied. That's why we say we want to make India a hub of arbitration. We want to make India a hub of investments. We want more and more FDI to come up. We want our India to be a nation where everyone's capital is secure and everyone's right is also secure. Cities, modern science and technology, we say we want to become like Tokyo. That's why bullet train is coming up. And rational ethic of life conduct. The rational ethic of life conduct means that a religious basis must be there for ordering of life, which consistently followed out must lead to explicit rationalism. That means that there is a religion behind the understanding and the daily life, and those tenets of those religious tenets and those elements of your daily moral life, they must also help you to be more rational, and that's how you become more oriented towards capitalism. It's not like that has been in India has been a very very faith based also things are there, and then there is rationality behind faith also, so this is the subject to understanding. So what we can conclude is that rational capitalism, as per Weber, is the product of economic and non-economic forces. A unique convergence was seen in Occident, and Weber's insight is that rationalization is not linear or universal, but context dependent. So that's how, by understanding this, by these keywords which we have used very frequently, and you bring your own case studies, you must be able to write at least 150 words answer whenever required in whatever way, because examination is going to ask you your understanding and not merely mugging up. So see you soon in the next lecture. Thank you very much.